It all kicks off with this single, tiny word, a word that's tucked away inside a verse that, on the surface, seems to put a clock on our very existence. You know the one, right? In Genesis, God looks at humanity's corruption and says, "My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is also flesh." That word is bashgam. Therefore, his days shall be 120 years. Right. It sounds like a pretty straightforward story of limitation, doesn't it? A divine line in the sand. A cosmic countdown timer that gets set for every single one of us. But what if that's just the surface level? Because the Zohar, the foundational text of Jewish mysticism, just casually drops a bombshell. It says, point blank, this bashgam is Moses. And just like that, everything changes. A verse that we thought was about human limits suddenly becomes this coded message about the very man who brought us liberation. So we have to ask, how on earth can a word that means "for he also is" secretly be Moses? And what does that tell us about the 120-year limit, our lost immortality, and maybe even the source code of reality itself?
So welcome. Today we're taking a journey through the per days, all 4 hidden levels of meaning. We're going to start with the plain story, the limit on life. Then we're going to crack open the secret code that's hidden in the numbers. From there, we'll start thinking about creation as a kind of cosmic operating system, and we'll see how Moses fits in as the ultimate admin key. We'll even reframe that 120-year limit not as some punishment, but as a protocol for perfection. And hopefully, by the end, we'll uncover a secret path to eternity.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We are way back in the pre-flood era. And the Zohar paints this picture of a world where people lived for immense amounts of time. Adam, 930 years, Methuselah, 969. The divine spirit, this incredible life force, it just flowed almost without any restriction right into the physical world. But this direct high-speed connection wasn't being handled correctly by humanity. It actually led to this profound corruption, kind of like a short circuit where the sacred and the profane just started mingling in a really dangerous way. Exactly. And the key phrase, the sort of official diagnosis from the creator, is "for he is also flesh." Bashgam hu basar. This is the system error report. Humanity got way too identified with the physical, with the basar, the meat. We started to think that this physical shell was the whole story, completely forgetting that the spirit flowing into it was the actual source of life. So this wasn't really a punishment, it was more like cosmic damage control. The 120-year cap was a divine firewall, basically throttling the connection to stop a total system meltdown. It was designed to force us to find our spiritual purpose not in an endless life, but within a precious and now finite one. All right, so to get from that plain, simple meaning to the really deep, secret one, we need a key. And in Jewish mysticism, one of the most powerful keys we have is gematria. It's a system where every single Hebrew letter also has a numerical value. So Aleph is 1, Bet is 2. You got the idea. Now, this isn't just playing with numbers. It's built on this profound idea that the Torah is a perfectly engineered, divine document where every letter, every word, and its numerical value is placed exactly where it is for a reason. Oh, for sure. For the mystics, these number connections are absolutely not a coincidence. They're a form of divine cryptography. It's like the author of reality embedded hyperlinks and secret passwords right into the text source code. So when 2 words or phrases happen to share the same numerical value, it's a huge signal, a flashing light that there's a deep, hidden connection between them. It's a whole other layer of meaning just sitting there waiting for us to unlock it. So, here's the big question. What if this word, bashgam, the exact word used to explain why we're limited, what if it isn't just a word? What if the Zohar is right, and it's actually a cryptographic key, hiding the solution inside the definition of the problem itself? Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. Let's do the math. The word bashgam. Bet is 2, shin is 300, gimel is 3, mem is 40. You add that all up, you get 345. Now let's take the name of Moses. Moshe in Hebrew. Mem is 40, shin is 300, and hey is 5. What do you get? 345. For the Zohar, this is the mic drop moment. This is intentional. The word defining the limitation and the name of the liberator are numerically, and therefore mystically, the exact same thing. And you see, this changes everything. Let's just go back and read that verse again, but this time with this new secret insight. My spirit shall not abide in man forever. Moses is also flesh. Therefore his days shall be 120 years. The verse just completely transforms before our eyes. It stops being a story about humanity's failure, and it becomes a prophecy. It's a coded message, planted right at the dawn of time, that points directly to the man who would come to fix the broken connection, and it even reveals his exact lifespan, thousands of years before he was even born. To really wrap our heads around how huge this is, let's use a modern analogy. Think of creation as a divine computer, right? A cosmic operating system. In the original version, back in Eden, humanity had full root-level access. The tree of life, that was our unthrottled fiber optic connection to the infinite energy source, to the divine CPU. And that meant eternal life, an infinite loop where our soul's software ran on this perfect, self-healing physical hardware. So, in that analogy, the sin of Eden was a catastrophic system error. Adam and Eve chose to access the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That was like knowingly clicking on a phishing link and executing a malicious script from a totally untrusted source, the serpent. And that script introduced a fundamental virus into the whole system, the code of separation, of duality, and ultimately of death. The Zohar actually says this choice plugged humanity's system into an unstable power grid, one that flickers between life and death. And, any good system admin knows what you have to do next. The system security protocol had to kick in. Root access to the tree of life was immediately revoked. That infinite loop of physical life got terminated to stop the corruption from becoming a permanent, irreversible bug in the OS. And a brand new protocol was written directly into our source code, into our very flesh. And that new protocol? A capped runtime, 120 years.
So we can look at this in a couple of ways. For the cosmic engineer, right, the original state was full root access. The sin was a critical system exploit. The consequence? Root access revoked and a new, throttled protocol put in its place. Or, and this makes it super clear, think of it like a video game. Imagine Adam in the Garden of Eden is a player who starts the game with the infinite lives cheat code turned on. The serpent, who's basically a malicious hacker, tricks him into downloading a virus, the tree of knowledge, and it corrupts his save file. So the game developer, God, has to patch the game to save it. He can't restore that original cheat code, but he sets a new rule. You can still play, but now there's a level cap, level 120.
So if Adam's choice was the exploit that crashed the system, then Moses is the official patch. He is the master admin key encoded into the system from the very beginning, designed specifically to restore a secure but moderated connection to that divine source. He doesn't bring back root access to physical immortality. No, he provides something different, a new encrypted protocol, a secure API. And that API is the Torah. It's the instruction manual for how the soul can navigate this new limited reality and still achieve its ultimate eternal destiny. Okay, but to really understand how this divine API actually works, how the key fits into the lock, we have to look at the system's underlying architecture. We have to go to the deepest level, the sod, the secret. And the Kabbalists describe this divine architecture as the Sphirot, 10 divine emanations that act as the channels for the flow of all creative energy.
Right. Think of this as the divine data flow, the actual schematic of creation. It all starts in chakma, wisdom. This is like a primordial flash of lightning, pure potential straight from the infinite source. It's a thought before it's even a thought. And that spark immediately flows into bina, understanding, which acts like a divine womb. It takes that raw potential and gives it structure, form, and all the details. It builds the palace from the architect's initial sketch. From Bina, that energy gets channeled into the system's central processing unit, Tiferet, which means harmony or beauty. The job of Tiferet is to perfectly balance all the energies, especially the expansive force of mercy, or chesed, and the contracting force of judgment, or din. And this is Moses' domain. He is the master of Tiferet. From there, the now perfected energy flows through Yasad, the foundation, which is the final pipeline, the conduit that sends this divine flow into our world, Melkot, the kingdom, which is the earthly interface. That's our reality. Now, Adam's sin created what the mystics call a crack in the pipes, specifically between Yasad and Malkut. It damaged that final stage of transmission. So the pure, balanced white light of life flowing from Tiferet got distorted. As it passed through that damaged channel, the raw, unfiltered red light of strict judgment, of Din, was able to leak through, and that's what activated the mortality protocol in our physical world. The key insight here is that Moses, operating from Tiferet with the Torah, provides the error correction software. The teachings of the Torah are designed to repair that damaged connection, to recalibrate the flow, and to allow us to once again receive spiritual life, even if our physical life is now capped. So that deep dive into the system's architecture brings us to this amazing paradox, right? If Moses is the fix, if the Torah is the error correction software, if his whole purpose is to repair the flow of divine life, then why is he himself subject to the 120-year limit? Why does the verse, when we read it the secret way, Moses is also flesh, apply that very limitation directly to him? Because Moses isn't meant to break the new rules. He's designed to perfect them. He represents the absolute maximum potential that anyone can achieve within this new patched system. His life of 120 years isn't a limitation.
It's the blueprint. It's the user manual for a perfected human life cycle in our post-Eden reality. He's showing us what's possible inside the machine, not by breaking out of it. And you can see this formula laid out perfectly. His 120 years are not just some random number. They are structured as 3 perfect cycles of 40 years. And the number 40 in mysticism always means a complete cycle of transformation. The 40 days of the flood, 40 days on Sinai, 40 years in the desert. Moses lives through 3 of these cycles. First, 40 years in Egypt, where he masters the physical world, perfecting his body, his nefesh. Then 40 years as a shepherd in Midian, in spiritual retreat, perfecting his spirit, his ruach. And finally, the last 40 years leading Israel, receiving the Torah, connecting heaven and earth, perfecting his soul, his neshama, body, spirit, and soul. A complete, perfected human life. Exactly. So he couldn't restore our physical hardware back to its immortal state, but instead he gave us the software, the Torah, and he lived out the perfect user manual, showing how our souls can achieve eternity by mastering the limits of this physical world. He doesn't just hand us the map. His entire life is the map. He's demonstrating that the 120-year cap isn't a prison at all, but a perfectly designed training ground for the soul to reach its fullest potential.
So when we look at that verse now, we can see its incredible holographic depth. It is both the diagnosis and the prescription in a single coded sentence. The diagnosis of our disconnection is bashgam hu basar, because we are so tangled up in the flesh. And the prescription, the key to our cure, is hidden right inside that very word, bashgam, which is Moses, which is the path of Torah. Let's just reframe the Zohar's secret one final time. That verse is not a curse. It is a coded message of incredible hope. It is God embedding the key to our liberation inside the very description of our limitation. It's like it's saying, yes, your physical runtime is now capped at 120 years because you're entangled with the flesh. But I've already encoded the patch into the system from the very beginning. His name is Moses, his path is Torah, and his life will show you exactly how to turn this limitation into a launch pad for the soul's infinite journey.
So in the end, what does this all mean for us, right here, right now? It means that our physical hardware, well, it might have planned obsolescence. Our bodies, our basar, they have a capped runtime. But our soul, our software, has an infinite upgrade path. And according to the Zohar, that path to restoring the soul, that access to eternal life, is opened through the key that was embedded in the code from the very beginning, Moses and the Torah he delivered. Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardas. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.